What's up, everybody? Today's video, I kind of wanted to stop off and look at this old covered bridge here. This is actually the smallest covered bridge in the state of Georgia. It's the Sautee Mill Bridge. It's here on Chickamauga Creek in the Sautee Valley. Anyway, let's take a look. Old truck camping Suburban's taking a rest today. We're just out tooling around the old Tahoe. This is here in the Sautee Valley. It's here in White County, Georgia. If you're ever up this way, the northeast Georgia mountains. Like I say, it's here on Chickamauga Creek. Chickamauga, excuse me, say it right. This bridge was built in 1859, I think. It's 33 feet long. It's the smallest covered bridge in the state of Georgia. They got a nice little plaque here to keep up for it. Pause there if you want to read that. Let's go over here and check it out and walk in. This is a pretty cool old bridge. It's all wood. It's all hand built. I actually do photography on the side, and I've actually used this location for some engagement photo shoots. It's just kind of a cool spot. Nice section of creek that runs off the backside and continues on down through the Sautee Valley. We got a good bit of rain last night. It's not usually running this muddy. It's usually pretty clear and not near as much water, but still, a lot of graffiti's going on over the years. As you can tell, a lot of graffiti all over. A lot of memories for folks, and some of it's just kids goofing off, but it's 33 feet long. It was only a single single path covered bridge. And this used to be part of the road that connected the city of Cleveland. You could come from Cleveland and go to Clayton, Georgia. This was the old road that used to go there before they moved the road actually off of the bridge. It has had some restorations done, probably over the years. I know for a fact. I don't know, maybe 3 or 4, 5 years ago, maybe in pre-COVID at least. So it had gotten really bad, and a lot of the roof had holes, and the shingles, the wood shingles, were falling through. And the Historical Society raised some money, and they got a new roof put on it, so to help, get it to last longer, of course. But can you imagine the days, before that new bridge was put in? I believe that the road was bumped out that way in the 50s, maybe 1950s. Beforehand, the old road would have come through here, and this would have been your way to get across this creek. Any traveling you had to do to go get supplies or whatever back in those days. I'm sure back then, everybody was doing horse and wagon to get about and go visit their families or go get supplies or whatever, like I said. But I don't know, it's kind of a pretty cool location. I'm a old nostalgia nerd anyway. Got a lot of wind blowing through here today, so hopefully my audio is going to be okay. I don't know, I always kind of find this stuff interesting. It's cool. A lot of our history's becoming so easily lost nowadays, and for this reason or that, and it's nice to see, there's still people that have an appreciation, for the old stuff. This old bridge, these timbers here are, Lord, I don't know what the dimensions would be on these. I know up and down ways, they're easily 12-inch timbers. Little backstory on me. My first job I ever had back in early 80s, mid 80s, I worked in an old-timey sawmill on weekends and through a summer or two after school let out. And it was an old-timey sawmill that had just an old tin roof lean-to is all it was, and had an old man sawyer that used to run the big saw, and a saw blade is as big as my shoulders. But it was my first job, and I went in and I helped turn logs by hand with what they call a Kent hook. Turn logs over, flip them over, and lock them back into the dogs for the sliding rails that would go through for the sawyer to run that thing through, and they'd cut the sides off, and they'd cut them down to timbers or lumber or whatever they needed to do. But that was my first job, so I'd go out sometimes and help, cut and bring logs in, and so I have a little understanding about what it would have taken, especially when you're talking about back in late 1800s, just to undertake the necessity of building a covered bridge, of this size, and with these timbers and with these all this lumber. You can see the saw marks in these logs. Let me turn this thing around and I'll show you. If you take a look down this timber, look real close, you see those patterns here. This, if you notice, they're in an arc. That's that saw blade. As that saw blade would go through this timber, that's how they'd cut that. And like I said, you can see the size of this timber. From here to here is your timber. These big sections of hardware hold this together. But just to, if you could just fathom, you'd have to have your livestock to haul these timbers to the location. Big draft horses, more than likely, haul this stuff and put it into place. And they didn't have a big road department back in the day like we do now. We can kind of let those guys handle taking care of building our paths and our roads and our highways. More than likely, these were local guys that had set up homesteads here in the Sautee Valley, and they needed to get from here to there, and they just did the shit they needed to do to get these timbers cut and hauled in here and put together so they could get across this creek without tearing their wagon wheels up and all that. So another little tidbit of information, history on this Stovall Mill Bridge. There was a movie back in 1950, 51 called I'd Climb the Highest Mountain. If you ever get a chance to look that movie up, this covered bridge was featured in that film. Right here, it was actually shot here in the Sautee Valley. A lot of the whole film was shot here actually, but the old covered bridge is in that film. Pretty cool. I'm sure they've had to redo that over the years, but they kept the base process, looks like, at least, of the stack rock. It's probably the foundations that were put in for it originally. I don't know if you can tell the perspective of this, but you can see that log right on that far side. That is almost a full tree timber. The next one is too. Those are pretty good sized timbers. I would say that's probably all original hardware. As you can see, those are good sized timbers. And even in the light here, even with the graffiti on there, you can still see the saw patterns going up and down here, like that, and that. Of course, those saw patterns there, you can see them really well and see the curves. That's a saw blade cutting through that big old timber. A lot of people leave stuff here, and looks like somebody left a rock here. Let's see what this is. Our son Zach Moore, 1994 to 2020. Huh. Zach P. Moore, maybe? I don't know. The part that's getting me is this is kind of weird because my last name is Moore. I go by Scavenger Picked on here, social media, but my last name's Moore. Somebody left that as a memorial for their son. I wonder what happened. I'm gonna leave it right here for me. Actually, I've seen memorial stuff like that here before too. There was a cross, a plastic cross of some kind that was here back a few years ago. Here's one up underneath here. 2017 looks like, for an Elizabeth. Well, this says something here. Elizabeth Rubles. That's what I say. I mean, you know, you've got the graffiti, and I understand. You know, I get a little aggravated with the graffiti sometimes myself, but at the same time, it's not all, it's not all just kids playing. Sometimes it becomes a memorial, a place to give a memorial for somebody. I've not sat and actually read, everything in here. By no means, there's so much, but I'm sure there's more memorials in here. Maybe this was a special spot that, two people may have come and spent some time together, the first date. Or maybe this is where somebody proposed to somebody. Maybe it's just a favorite place they used to come and have a picnic. A lot of people come here in the summer, and the spot down here in the water on the creek in the summertime, that spot out there, you can see there's a rope swing. A lot of people come here and just kids come and play in the water. It's one of those spots that, being here as long as it has, there's no telling what kind of memories each person has. So I got to give a little discount, some of the graffiti or some of the markings for people just want to memorialize the moment, So I don't know. That's just my thoughts. I don't know. I always kind of think this stuff's interesting. Like I said, it was just a quick stop. I wanted to stop in here and do this. Getting ready to do some more truck camping and getting out and seeing some more places. That's kind of what I want to do. I want to be able to get out and take the old Suburban and find some locations. Of course, do some truck camping, some cooking, and, you know, along the way, see the sights. I spent several years working on the road and building equipment and doing installations and stuff for a big food industry. And I traveled, you know, pretty much the whole East Coast up to the northern, up into Maryland, and all the way out to the other side of Texas, and spent a lot of years doing that. But in all that time, you know, I was working so much and never got time to stop and look at anything. So maybe through some of these videos I can incorporate some relaxing stops, you know, look at stuff. But anyway, yeah, pretty cool place. You should look at the top there. Like I said, they've redone that roof, but the majority of it, the bones of it are still the original hardware. And look at the size of that. You know. Oh, that one's loose. I might better get off here. No. Anyway, Stovall Mill covered bridge. Sautee Valley, Northeast Georgia mountains. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just old nostalgia buff, old geek, nerd, I don't know what you call it. I have an appreciation for the old stuff being kept. So anyway, I'll take a few more shots for you and see you on the next video. Appreciate your following, and if you do, and subscribing if you would. Gonna get out here and do some more crazy stuff, see what we can find, do some truck camping. Season's fits to kick off, so yeah, like and subscribe if you would, please. Thank you.